Good morning. So here we are doing what we do on another Palm Sunday. It's kind of like Ash Wednesday. We get a bunch of free stuff and we kind of show up to get it every year, take it home, do whatever we do with it. And I think for a lot of years, Catholics have been coming to Palm Sunday, getting palms. We hear the Passion. We know it's the beginning of Holy Week. But really, the whole point just sort of gets glazed over, and that's what Christ is actually doing, not only in the gospel of his crucifixion, but the gospel that we read at the beginning in the back. It's really interesting. Like, the church gives us sort of both ends of it, right? Like, it's his ascent or, coming into Jerusalem, and at the same time, it's the end of that process where he dies on the cross. We're going to be celebrating that at the end of Holy Week. And what we read at the beginning of Mass is literally what we're celebrating today, hence the palms. In a very interesting way, we're all excited about having these palms. These palms were laid at the feet of the donkey as he's coming into Jerusalem by the same people that are going to turn around and crucify him just a few days later. And so this palm that we show up to get literally is sort of a judgment on us, right? That says, yeah, we're those people. They claim on one end to believe, and on the other end we're going to, shout out, crucify him, which we do as we read through the Passion. And even if we got to that level, that'd be pretty good, but most of the time we just stay up there on that superficial level because we have forgotten in our modern day and age what actually happened. And most especially, we have forgotten that it wasn't just some event in the past. That because Christ is God, he saw all time. Something we're going to celebrate on Holy Saturdays, right? I am the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. All time belongs to me. Meaning that when he is riding into Jerusalem, he is seeing this Mass right here and you sitting in the pew with your palm. And so, on a very practical level, if you want to understand what happened today from a human point of view, as he rode into Jerusalem, this is pure, kingly, masculine bravery. It's one thing I've just kind of shifted with over the course of certainly my priesthood, but my Christianity regarding Holy Week, right? When we come to Good Friday, or even when we celebrate what we do at the Last Supper and his arrest on Holy Thursday, when we watch the Passion of the Christ, our tendency, even to the Stations of the Cross, is to grieve over our sins. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing that. We should. Because that's why he had to do that. But that's not the point of witnessing what he's doing, at least not the main one. Jesus Christ is king. And a good king is a warrior. He has claimed his kingdom. He's a victor. He's not afraid. And that could be not more true for Christ. And so what we see him doing today is to take a stand for his kingdom. Well, what is his kingdom? His kingdom is you and me. We are his subjects, and he's coming to get us. And again, he sees all time, all places. So whether it was that day or 2024, he's doing it for all of it. So just consider for a moment what's going on. We know scripturally a week before this that the Sanhedrin has condemned him to death. They have decided that this man must die out of envy. Jesus knows this. He's staying out of Jerusalem until this point. And he doesn't just show up. He fulfills intentionally the prophecy of the Messiah out of the book of the prophet Isaiah. He rides in on a donkey through the east gate, and it's not just a few people. There are thousands of people welcoming him into Jerusalem because these people see him fulfilling the prophecy Everybody's been talking about it. And so he is king. Would you do that? The U.S. government's looking for you, and you're going right up past the Washington Monument, towards the White House or Congress, in a tank, and you're proclaiming yourself to be the new king of the United States of America. He's basically telling the Jewish hierarchy, all right, come get me. You see, that's not the Jesus that the world's made out Jesus to be over the last, 50 years, right? Mr. Feminine Flower Guy. The guy who just is cool with everything, man. You're okay, I'm okay. Right? What was that song in the 70s? Jesus is just all right with me. Oh, no. No. This man is a god. And if that's not cool enough, that's just the human level. He's actually coming to save the Pharisees and scribes and the Sanhedrin themselves, right? He forgives them from the cross. The one he's really after is Satan. And because he's God, as he rides into Jerusalem, he can see him. And just picture this in your mind, because we forget about this stuff, right? There's Lucifer with his legions since the Garden of Eden, however many millennia, enthroned over the world. And we know through some of the visions of the saints that he can't quite figure out that he's God. He knows he's some super prophet, but he thinks he can win. As he comes through that east gate, little old Jesus on his donkey, he looks him right in the face, and now it's like, let's get it on! You and me, right now. Let's see what you got. To the legions of hell. God, in that moment, returned to his people in his own time to reclaim his kingdom as all of his parables talk about, which he did. What you're going to see this week is Christ fighting a war. Yes, he had to do it because we're sinners. That's not the point. The point is in this diabolical hell that we were put into, he's coming to airlift us out. This is a hot extraction. And the king himself is the only one that can do it. And so he does. So what are we doing here in the pew today, everybody? We're not just here to get the palm, if that's why you're here and that's it. Well, you're one of the people that was praising him that day and crucifying him on Good Friday. But if you see what's really going on and you're a subject, a real one of the kingdom, then you see deeper. He rode into Jerusalem for you, right now, real time, 2024. He sees you from 2,000 years ago sitting in this pew. He gave up his body and blood, not only at the Last Supper on the cross and will in this Mass, for nothing more than you, so that you can receive salvation and live. He endured the most horrific death known to man. We breezed right over it. They spat in his face over and over and over, the greatest king that there is. They tore his flesh off his body with a whip that had hooks in it. They crowned him with thorns, in which I've seen the plant in Jerusalem. The thorns are 2 inches long, and they're poison. I pricked myself with it. It burned for 3 days. No, it was stupid. And then they nailed him to the cross, and he hung there, and he died as they told him to come down, and he could. But if he would have come down, you wouldn't be saved. So he hung there for you. The only thing on this king's mind as he rides into Jerusalem this day is your salvation. You are everything to him. And that's what we're celebrating this week. He begs you to come and remember the victory with him. Can you imagine the celebration that's going on in heaven every year when they rejoice in their victor king who is responsible for their salvation and the destruction of the kingdoms of hell? Good grief, we get excited about the Super Bowl. Imagine what that must look like. And so there's only one question left on the table for all of us. Do you care? Seriously. Do you live your life like you care? Or when you see him someday, he's going to say, you didn't care at all. As a matter of fact, you didn't even want it. Do we care? Or are we too busy to bother, too caught up in the world to acknowledge the greatest act of love that has ever been shown to any of us?